Hello, welcome to the iTNet Tech Update. Tomorrow is the first day of October, and thus Cybersecurity Awareness Month begins. All through October, we're going to be sharing information with you on the latest cybersecurity threats and how to avoid them. And today we're going to get you prepped for that with some information on why you should stay backing up your data regularly. Stay tuned. Hello, I'm Michael Kinnett, CEO and founder of Eternal Networks. And every Friday at 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific time on our Facebook, Twitter, and my personal LinkedIn pages, we go live to discuss the latest tech, cyberspace news that may affect your business. At the end of our live session, I'll be answering some questions live from the audience. So if you have any tech, cybersecurity questions, get them ready. I'll be covering them at the end. But first, I want to cover a couple of things from the news. And most weeks I cover one topic. This week, there was a lot. There was a lot going on in the cybersecurity and tech space. At least there was a lot that popped up that I thought would be worth bringing to your attention. First, there was an IT admin in Hawaii that was fired a couple years ago, and he used his old credentials to log in and redirect their web traffic and their email, crippling their network. He's since been brought to justice. The FBI is prosecuting him. He's going to be facing a maximum of 10 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000. Pretty serious. And while what he did was horrible, the company could have prevented it by making sure that the other IT staff at the company changed his password when he left. So that's a good lesson to make sure when you're terminating employees, regardless of what they have access to, you should immediately be changing passwords that they had access to limit any potential exposure for any former employee that might be have some malicious intent. Next, the IRS recently has made some statements this week that text phishing scams related to your taxes have risen exponentially this year. They're asking that accountants, tax professionals, as well as everybody, right? Just be extra vigilant, right? Be aware of what's going on. If you're getting text messages that appear to be from the IRS or from accounting professionals regarding your taxes, there is a method that you can report those to the IRS. They're asking that you please do that so that they can shut down these scams. Just beware though, it's they use the term exponentially have risen. A lot more. We're seeing that a lot more with other phishing scams via text as well. Just be extra careful. Another news topic this week, Kaspersky, the cybersecurity company, recently this last week released a new study that they did. And in the study, they talked to businesses around the world and found that 90% of these businesses are not ready for cyber attacks. That's a staggering number, especially since the number of cyber attacks have been climbing the last few years. There are more threats out there than ever, and yet only 10% of businesses felt that they were prepared. So hopefully, those 90% are taking steps to prepare themselves, because it's not a matter of if, it's more a matter of when your organization gets hit with a cyber attack. And there's definitely steps that can be taken to prevent and minimize the effects of that. Finally, and this is an important one, if any of you watching this have Microsoft Exchange servers, there is a ZeroDay vulnerability that's very serious. It's a server-side request forgery, and it can be used to deliver web shells and perform further attacks, including moving laterally within an organization. It's currently being exploited in the wild, and there's no patch for it. Microsoft's working on it. There is a mitigation for it to help reduce the attack vector. So if any of you have in-house Exchange servers, talk to your IT professionals or message me, and we can provide you some information with how to protect yourselves from that until that patch comes out. But that's a very serious vulnerability that was just announced by Microsoft within the last 24 hours. So if you have Microsoft 365, you're protected. There's not a vulnerability for that version of Microsoft Exchange. So that's the news. There was a few other things, but I figure it's Friday afternoon. People don't want to be overloaded with all these scary cybersecurity news headlines. So we'll be sharing more throughout the month on that. Now to the main discussion for today, and backing up your data, right? I've talked about this before. We've done webinars last year on it. So it gets brought up frequently, right, in the IT space. Why should you be backing up your data regularly? Well, there's lots of reasons why. One, it's protect yourself against data loss. So in your business organization, you should be backing up your sales data, your customer information, your accounting history, business operations, policies, procedures. If you have photos, music, videos, anything that's business related, your tax records, on a personal level, right? Your family information, your photos of your kids and your extended family, those things that can't really be replaced easily should be backed up, and they should be backed up regularly. I can share a personal story. So several years ago, this is going back, I don't know, 9 years, 8-9 years. I was pretty consistent at backing up my data. Well, I went about 2 months without backing up my data, and in the process of doing that, this is back when I had more of a manual process. My drive that had my family photos on it crashed, and I ended up losing about 6 weeks worth of pictures. That may not sound too bad. It was only 6 weeks. The problem is that 6 weeks was Christmas, 2 of my kids' birthdays, and my birthday. And so all the pictures and videos that were saved on the computer that were not on my phone or my wife's phone were lost. We were not able to recover those from the drive. So I learned my lesson. We have automated systems now to back up my personal stuff as well. So just make sure you're backing up that stuff. One other reason to back up regularly, right, is it creates an archive and an audit trail. This is really important in the business, right? If you're trying to track who's making changes or when changes are made, the backup can help with that, right? You can go back in time through that backup and see what was changed and when. Having a backup this is obvious, right? But it can help you recover from problems quickly. Instead of having to go and rebuild documents and rebuild things, you can just restore them from the backup. Saves a lot of time, which leads to the next item, which it reduces cost due to downtime. So instead of being down for days rebuilding stuff, sometimes it's only a matter of hours. If you have our data backup and disaster recovery appliance, you may only be down a matter of minutes before we can get you back up virtualized on your backup appliance. And so all these things, having all these things in place leads to peace of mind, right? Knowing that your data is protected, your business operations are protected, and that there's a plan in place to get you guys back up in the case of data loss or disaster, of devices, equipment, etc. So how to back up, there's lots of different softwares out there. I'm not gonna name any. There's lots of them out there. The important thing is that as you're planning your backup strategy is the 3-2-1 strategy, right? You want 3 copies. 1 is your primary data that's on your system, and then 2 additional copies. You want 2 different types of media, and at least one of them should be offsite, so that if the building burns down or there's some other sort of natural disaster that decimates your location, then that you still have that data offsite. So hopefully that's helpful information. If any of you have any questions about backup, I know we've got blog posts and we've done other videos and stuff. I'm more than happy to answer any questions on here live or direct message as well. Let's see, I don't see any questions come through yet. We'll go ahead and talk about our upcoming webinar. So as I mentioned at the beginning, it's Cybersecurity Month. Every October is Cybersecurity Month. And so every October, we hammer in cybersecurity news and information. And this October is going to be the same, right? We're going to heavily cover cybersecurity throughout the month on the live streams, on our social media posts, our blogs, and on our webinar. So in our webinar, we're going to be talking about the top newsworthy cybersecurity breaches of 2022 and how to avoid them in your business. It's going to be October 20th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And we're going to be talking about some of the top cyber attacks this year that have been in the news, the methods used, and how you can avoid ending up being in the same situation, right? We don't want any of you to be the next headline. Not all of these attacks were against big corporations. Some of them were on local schools, small banks, and small businesses. This affects everybody. So join us to hear some stories about tech in 2022 and some tips on how you can help avoid similar tech troubles within your organization. So let me just check and make sure there's no other questions on here. It's it's the weekend, right? If any of you are watching live, appreciate you taking the time. Those of you that are watching after the fact, thank you as well. Post your questions in the comments below. Send me a direct message. I'd love to respond to them at any point in time. As all of you know that have seen me on here before, I love talking about technology, love talking about cybersecurity, and I love helping people improve their cybersecurity resilience and to protect themselves. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you more next week. Thank you.